Good morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. If you're watching us live on Facebook, we appreciate that. If you're listening to us later or watching us later, appreciate that as well. You can listen and watch later at any time you please at www.livingstonparishnewscom/podcast. We do upload these shows there after the show, I guess you could say almost immediately. We have heavily edited audio and video for your viewing pleasure. So anyway, however you're watching us this morning, we do appreciate that. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We're also once a week in print, and of course we are online as mentioned. Let's jump into it this morning. Traffic is heavy this morning because of two accidents right at I-12 and Range Avenue. One on the overpass, one on the on-ramp. It's caused a lot of delays backed up past Jubin, which of course is affecting surface streets as folks drop their kids off. That's really the traffic story of today, is that it's just going to be a rough day getting into Baton Rouge today, as well as there is a accident at Airline in I-12, which of course is causing delays there. So it's just going to be a tough commute this morning. It has already caused heavy delays at 4-H Club Road, River Road, and Highway 190 going into Baton Rouge. Right now looking like 64, if you can get there, is your best way to get into the Red Stick. So please keep an eye out for that. Your weather, 54 degrees today, which, nice little cool morning. However, it's going to get warm. It's going to get up to almost 80 degrees today. But this will be the last day of warmth, as we have a 60 overnight. It'll get up right into about the mid-70s tomorrow, and then we're going to get hit with some rain. Cold weather coming in, so it's going to be rainy and cold tomorrow. So please be prepared for that, dropping into the 50s and 30s at night. So please dress warmly, or prepare to dress warmly, and bring some things to stay dry. Story of the day, I guess you can say, is last night, Coach Bill Connidy's Denham Springs High School football head coach confirmed with William Weathers here at the news that the Scotlandville game will in fact be his last game of his tenure at Denham Springs High School. Coach Connidy's had a pretty good record over his first 2 years. Things just didn't pan out this year. Had an 0-2 start, good turnaround against Sandoval, big win, and then Assumption came in, put 22 on them in the fourth quarter, and it just hadn't been the same since. So also, Mr. Connidy's was hired by Principal Kelly Jones, who is no longer there. It is now Principal Wes Howard. So it'll be interesting to see where the Denham Springs High School administration changes or shifts gears from here. But this will indeed, this Friday will be Bill Connidy's last game coaching at Denham Springs High School. We'll talk more about the coach's mindset, the administration's mindset, that sort of thing on our football show, which I'll be sitting down with Rob Yarman and William Weathers here in about an hour, and we're going to get started on that. Be expecting that probably Thursday morning, tomorrow morning, to roll out on our website and social media. Of course, we record that every week. We could not find a time to get all the coaches together to come talk to us. Couldn't even find the time to get all the 5A coaches to come talk to us. So we interview them each individually, then myself, William, and Rob sit down and talk about it. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to be diving a little more deep into Coach Connidy's thought process as he went through all that, and we'll also be talking about where we think Denham Springs might go from here. Early voting is just killing it for the runoff period. Already we're breaking records with 10,897 early voting in the primary, already up to 6,700 in the runoff in the runoff early voting period. With 4 days left, you can vote today, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Denham Springs Walker Branch Library or the Registrar of Voters office in Livingston. Several runoff elections, as well as three local elections, that are going on here. First and foremost, you have the governor's race between Mr. Eddie Risponi, who's a Republican, and Mr. John Bell Edwards, who is a Democrat. And then you have the Secretary of State's race, which is Mr. Kyle Ardwan, who is a Republican, versus Ms. Gwen Collins Greenup, who is a Democrat. And then I'm going to go ahead and mention it because I corrected myself at the end of the show yesterday, but I missed this yesterday. Bessie District 6, which is Mr. Greg Spears of Springfield and Mr. Ronnie Morse of Baton Rouge. They are both Republicans. And then we have House District 71, which is Republican Buddy Mincy Jr. versus Democrat Lori Calais. Then we have District 6 of the Parish Council, both Republicans. That would be Mr. Derek Babcock and Mr. Gerald McMorris. Last but certainly not least in the slew of runoffs is the 21st Judicial District Court Judge Division D. Lots of D's there. That's Mr. Brian Abels versus Mr. Ernie Drake. They're both Republicans as well. Now, that's a multi-parish race that includes Livingston, St. Helena, and Tangipahoa. There is also an election to see if the voters will allow the town of Livingston and the town of Albany to sell alcohol within the city limits. There's also a $32 service charge fee it's a renewal for Fire Protection District 10. So there's your ballot. Some of those will be individual to certain areas, but that's what's going on for early voting as folks are moving forward, clearly turning out for the polls so far. However, Registrar of Voters Jared Andrews believes there might be some slowdown here toward the end of the week. I feel like a lot of people just came out and got it done. We'll find out, hoping to surpass that 10,897 mark for the primary early voting. In Denham Springs, Wet City Hall, which was the city hall that flooded, demolition began Monday. Got a chance to go out there and talk to Mayor Gerard Landry yesterday. A little bittersweet there, a lot of history lost with that building. But, in the end, he asked a rhetorical question, what if it floods again? That's what made the decision very easy for his administration as well as the city council. The Capital One building where they are located now did not flood, and with the way FEMA reimbursements work, they can renovate that building completely, turn it into a city hall, add some revitalization to the downtown area, and they're going to turn Wet City Hall area into a pavilion, for outdoor events and that kind of thing. Of course, if it floods, you just go out there and wash off the concrete and move on with your life. So, for him and the city council, it was just an easy decision. So that demolition has begun, and hopefully they'll be able to take care of some more of it today before that rain comes tomorrow. The rain and the construction of the pavilion and that kind of thing is all weather dependent. And as we know, we've been getting a lot of bands of cold weather coming through, bringing a lot of rain. So keep an eye on the skies for that. Juven Road widening, we talked about this yesterday, got a little more clarification today. While Walker is moving their gas lines, this is very preemptive. The construction of the roundabout is coming first before Juven Road itself will be widened. As far as the construction of the roundabout, we've reached out to DOTD to kind of see where they are in the process. I believe they're still doing utility relocation because there were a lot of folks that had lines, not just electric, but cable and that sort of thing, running down Highway 190, so waiting to hear back from them. But that is a two-phase timeline. That roundabout's coming first. Keep an eye on that area because it would probably be worth your time to avoid it once they start constructing that roundabout, at least until they're done. Master Planning Committee met last night. They heard from Eric Edwards and Jonathan Taylor of the CVB talking about a civic center. They also talked about roads. We're going to be catching up with Mr. Gerald Burns here in about 30 minutes. To talk to him about how the meeting went and where they expect to go from here. They will also be reporting to the Parish Council tomorrow. That'd be Thursday. They have a meeting. We'll be talking about their meeting and tomorrow morning show. Springfield Volleyball went ahead and got their game in. I was wrong yesterday. I thought they were going to play Friday. They went ahead and played. They went down to New Orleans and lost to Sacred Heart of New Orleans in 3 sets. And that'll end their season for this year. So congratulations, ladies, on making the playoffs. We are sorry it didn't go any farther. Live Oak Wrestling is kind of embracing this underdog role this year. As if you've been following Live Oak Wrestling, sort of an upstart program up there in Watson that has slowly gained a name for itself. Now they're, getting into that maintenance period where you've got to keep replicating that success and building on it. Always a difficult time for any kind of program. A lot of the newness is worn off, but they're embracing that. And they're saying, we're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep fighting to place, consistently placing in the top 3 in their division at state championships every year. So that, they'll be getting into that. Wrestling is going to start up here in a couple weeks. We're already to November. A reminder that football show will be the week 10 football show, and we'll be talking about that, and we'll be thinking about the playoffs, maybe doing a special live show talking about playoff placement after week 10. We'll keep y'all apprised of that. There was a vehicle day at North Corbin, and they the best way to describe this is it's almost like a bring your parent to work day or professionals at work day, except instead of just having them up in front of the class talking about it, they bring the kids out to these vehicles they use. And I mean, they had sheriff's vehicles, fire vehicles, even the library's, mobile book unit, as well as a food truck. We take a lot of those food trucks for granted. They're mobile kitchens, and they're very interesting. So gave these kids a chance to have more hands-on experience with these vehicles, to see them in action, instead of just having somebody, up front talking about what they do for a living, which may not resonate with kids. So good event there. There was a special needs festival at North Park. It's called Riley Gives Back. It was about 2 weeks ago. It was a chance, according to the coordinator, for special needs children to come out and just feel like they weren't being judged. There was a lot of booths, a lot of little games and things that they could play, and it just gave them a day to get outside, enjoy themselves, relaxed, without having people looking at them, talking about them, that sort of thing. A really great event. It's called Riley Gives Back. It was at North Park. You can read about those two stories at www.livingstonparishnews.com/living. Again, don't forget about our football show. We will be doing that in a little bit. I know I have not gotten y'all the school construction podcast yet. I'm going to process that today, get it out to you this afternoon so you can give it a listen, check it out. If you didn't feel like reading the story, which of course was the feature for last week's paper. The feature for this week is talking about buses. I know that a lot of parents were worried about buses and overcrowding and unfilled routes and that kind of thing. Well, they got a lot of that taken care of. We will talk about that as well as a parish council tomorrow. And of course, I will do a little podcast on that as well. One last time, a reminder about your traffic. 2 accidents on I-12 at the Denham Springs, I guess you could say on-ramp, as well as 1 accident on Airline makes I-12 probably not the way you want to get into Baton Rouge today. However, as usual, those accidents are causing backups at the intersection of 190 4H Club Road and River Road, as well as on 190 at Juban Road, and 190 in Denham Springs is pretty much a parking lot. So please keep that in mind. 64 relatively clear going into Central. However, there are the normal delays on Greenville Springs as schools let in and out and that sort of thing. Traffic is funneling away from the high schools and about to hit those backups. So please keep that in mind if you haven't left home yet. You maybe want to avoid those areas. It's currently 54 degrees. 78 is your high today. Roughly, probably feel about 80, 60 overnight, and then it will get up to about the mid 70s tomorrow. And then we're going to get hit with another band of rain. It's going to be cold. So please remember to prepare for cold, wet, and rainy tomorrow. Once again, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you joining us today for the Livingston Parish News morning show. It is Hump Day. Trying to get over that hump, get towards the second part of the week. Remember, you can catch these shows on our website, www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. Audio and video versions are available there. They are free. You can just click on them and listen or watch. We also are once a week in print on Thursdays, and we are also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. Appreciate you checking us out there. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed this show. We will catch you tomorrow morning. Again, we're going to be talking about anything that comes up between now and then, but mostly focused on the parish council, which will be coming up Thursday night, and the bus scenario and how the school board fixed that problem at the transportation department. Thanks for joining us. We hope you have a great day. Sorry about the traffic, although I didn't cause it. And we'll catch you tomorrow morning.